Okay, so we've had quite a few emails and social media messages asking for prices on getting different things and more or less like ballparks and lots of comments that just say price and everything like that. And we don't really give ballpark prices because they're not true to the customer's project, and we feel that prices inside comments can be very, very misleading for folks. So we usually direct people to our website to have them start going through the estimate process. And in some of those messages, some folks have asked recently if we can explain the types of things that go into estimates, what types of factors there are, such as, well, how do materials affect an estimate, or how much does your time affect an estimate, or I want something that's more of a basic appearance versus something that's really custom. And those are some kind of things I would like to go over because I think it'll help a lot of folks out when they do want to contact to receive estimates, especially since we've had a handful of people ask for these things because they want to learn about it. So I kind of have a little list of things here that I'm going to go over in hopes that we can achieve that goal here today with this video. Of course, if there's some other stuff you'd like to learn about what goes into a project, drop us an email, a phone call, a comment on this video, or whatever you would like. We'll try and answer the types of questions as best we can, but I'd like to dive right into it. So the very first thing here is what goes into estimates, which, as I just said, it goes to the condition of your interior. We do not buy interior kits or anything. We work on your interior. So whatever interior parts you drop off here or send here is what we are working on. There are not kits that we buy and do very minimal work and send them back. And we've had some folks say that they thought that's what happened. Like with the popular interior, the black and the tannish distressed leather one we posted that was really popular last week. Some people said that that's what they thought we did, but that's not what actually happens. We remove the interior from that customer's truck. We fix all of the broken plastic. We clean everything. We retexture our repairs. We use true professional coloring products to recolor it. We do all of the upholstery, everything. So everything that got removed from that truck gets put back into that truck. So, of course, the condition. That is a huge factor in what things will cost, because since we do all of the restoration to those parts, if you have something that's in really, really rough shape versus something that's really respectable for what it is, that can be a very big difference in how long we spend on something, which is going to be labor time, which means money. So I'm going to use a door panel as an example. They're a very popular thing that we do. So if you have two identical door panels, they look the same, let's just say a driver's front crew cab door panel. One of them looks like it's in really, really good condition, maybe a few little cracks behind the scenes when it's disassembled, some pretty bad color fading, and we go to do a full recondition on it. We're going to have at minimum 7 hours of labor time into the restoration of that panel between disassembling it 100%. The trim piece comes off, the inserts come out, the armrest comes off, the pockets come out, carpet comes off, everything. We do all of the work to it, deep clean it, recolor the parts, put brand new material on the bottom where the carpet is, fix the insert, foam it, upholster it in whatever material the customer chose, refinish the trim, put it back together, replace the padding, the speaker cloth, all of that stuff. In the best case scenario, you're looking at 7 hours for that to do everything right and take our time and make sure that it's done properly and all of the way. Versus the one that's really bad, now we're just adding more time to it. Like if we have really bad severe cracks in that part or have to fabricate broken chunk sections out, that's a lot more labor time. And I can go out to the shop truck and just snag a couple little clips and just show a good example of that, because we have yet to do that interior, and one door panel is way worse than the other one in the front. So that'll be a good example of that later in this video. Another big factor is materials. Some folks say they just I want it to look original, and that is 100% achievable, but what kind of materials do you want? We can use basic upholstery vinyl and achieve that look. We can use a really nice leather and achieve that look. And those are what's going to determine that cost on top of the condition, of course. So if we use a regular like upholstery vinyl, which is pretty standard, the 90s Ford trucks, they came with vinyl on the doors. It's not actually leather. That is material cost is going to be a very, very large difference in the cost. So that's going to be a pretty big factor. And of course, if you want custom things like little courtesy lights and things like that in the panels, well, now that's more materials going into the job, so more money. Or if you want, let's say you want a wood grain trim pattern or brushed metal or something, well, now we have more materials brought into that job and labor time on top of it. Big differences in prices. So things like that, the more you customize, the better the quality materials you have. So going from like vinyls to leathers is what I meant by quality. Things like that on top of condition is going to be massive factors in the price for an estimate, whether you want just your door panel worked on or drop your vehicle off, gut it top to bottom, do it all. So that brings me back to ballparks when everybody emails or comments on a social media post, price, 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 price. As much as we'd like to just blab the price out there, it's really only relevant for that customer, and for us, it's based on the condition of their interior. What did we do to it? How much time did we actually have in it? What materials did he choose? Somebody that commented just the word price, they might think they want exactly what's in that post of what they see, but they might not know what is done behind the scenes that they can't see. For example, was that truck fully sound deadened top to bottom? Did we replace weather stripping? Did we do a lot of wiring in the truck? You cannot see those things from pictures and videos when it's all assembled. So if we just flat out said, oh, this customer paid, I don't know, $5,000 for whatever job they're commenting on, that is not necessarily true. They might not know those things, and they might be thinking to themselves, oh, well, crap, I really only wanted a price on a couple door panels, and they just said $5,000. This is ridiculous. And it might scare them away, and then they can go spread that information to other people and have a lot of wrong things being said. So we find that it's best just to work with the customer and give them a price tailored to your project. That way it's a really good idea, because estimates are always going to be better than ballpark prices. And another scenario, this actually happened over the weekend. It's Monday today. I think this happened Friday afternoon or Saturday. And somebody messaged on Facebook, direct messaged us saying, price for full interior. That is exactly what they said. And we went in with the basic questions. What kind of condition is it in? Do you really want top to bottom on the whole thing? What are your goals with it? Now, if we didn't ask those, we could have just said, this is it. This is the price. It's $10,000, $15,000, whatever the price could have been. We could have just said that. But when they answered that question, they said, doubled in kit. Well, they didn't answer any of our other questions. They were extremely bland. They just said doubled in kit. So that led us to say, is that all you would like, or is that just one of the custom things you want? They replied, that's all I want. So then we just send them the link to the product page on the website. So if we had just said, yeah, it's going to be 15, 10, whatever the price might have been, there's a good chance they could have just been scared right away and ran away, and when it's a conversation later with their friend asking about it, they could have been like, oh yeah, they said $15,000 for a doubled-in kit. But we had zero context of what they really wanted a price on. And that actually happened the other day, but we asked the basic questions, we learned what they wanted, we helped them the best we could. That happens a lot. And that can also happen in comments. Previously in time, we used to have like a menu item price for door panels, and we'd say starting at this price or whatever, and just say it in the comments. And we'd have people contact and send things here that didn't care to have a real estimate done and be upset because they thought that was a dead set in stone price and they wanted some really custom stuff, or their stuff was in severely horrible shape, and now we have upset people, or people in the comments that may have thought that but didn't get anything done. Oh, well, it's only $400 to get a door panel done. and that's what it's going to cost me. But little do we know is they want all kinds of custom stuff. It could have been double the price, and that leads to misinformation being spread. Now, of course, we can give estimates to people, and they can go and comment on social media and say, yeah, comment on something. Maybe it's a post where somebody's looking for door panels, and somebody said, hey, send it to OBS Interiors. They'll do it, and maybe somebody replies to that comment and says, yeah, they told me $10,000. Now we have misinformation being spread again, because that has happened in the past, and we get curious about it, and we look it up really quick, and that customer received an estimate on a full interior for a single cab truck. Zero context. Now, we can't stop that from happening, and that's not really what we're focused on doing here. But in the past, we found that by giving ballparks in comments or saying what that customer paid for that job, that was happening almost with every single Facebook post we would make. And by now doing tailored estimates for the customers and refusing to appease the comment shoppers, we have eliminated that almost altogether. And that is what we want. We want to be honest with the customer about what they want to do, how long it's going to take. This is an estimated cost for the project that you have based on all of the information we've gone back and forth about. And that is always going to be better than a ballpark. A ballpark is not relevant to your project. It's not relevant to really anything at all. Now, there's nothing wrong with knowing ballparks. You might be like, okay, well, I'm thinking about doing a project next year, and I just want to know how much money is a minimum I'm going to need. That's okay. If you call us, we'll probably tell you that, but we're going to try and get more details from you first before we can give you any type of pricing. So that's why we would rather do just estimates. We're going to weed out a lot of the comment shoppers, which is kind of like a term like window shopping that I use. You're looking at windows, have all kinds of questions, want to pick and pull on the shelves with no intentions of doing anything. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. Some folks just like to learn about stuff. But by not doing that, we weed out a lot of people that never had intentions of doing anything. We pay people to reply to customers and emails and answer the phones and go on social media. So how much time are we paying for to answer all of these things when a more serious customer that is going to email us or call us and go through the steps with them is what we'd rather focus on. We have a very high-end clientele, and we're grateful for all of them. They're excellent people to work with, and it's always a pleasure with them. And that's what we like to focus on versus kind of just wasting our time with these ballpark prices in comments that aren't relevant to us or the customer, and it's not honest. So we always recommend go to our website, send us an estimate request, and we'll go back and forth a little bit, and we'll get you the best tailored estimate to your project we can. But please always remember that estimates are estimates. It's an estimate based on an educated guess, based on experience of how long it's going to take and what we think it's going to be for materials. That is an actual calculation in the moment of what we think we're going to need and what supply costs are at that time. It's not a quote. Quotes are guaranteed prices, and that's something we can't do because we are in a custom industry. The work we do, it is very tedious since we work on those parts. We do all the plastic repairs. We do all the upholstery. We do all the coloring. It gets tedious and time can add up. And when it comes down to doing custom things, it's near impossible to know exactly how much time it's going to take or exactly how much material. But that doesn't mean we can't get a really good idea of what that would be. And that is what we do in our estimates for customers. So I'm going to jump into materials a little bit and kind of show a couple different things here on the table of some different leathers and show why that's important to know because it can drastically affect an estimate. All right, so about materials, the stuff that we use is of a higher quality at all times. The coloring that we use is a true professional coloring. We don't use any of the DIY SEM color code or color bond or any of that. The stuff that we use it's extremely durable. It blows all that out of the water. It is a true professional product. We mix our colors as we need them, custom. And all of our materials are of that higher quality. Our leathers that we use are top shelf. We use only European leathers. The quality is superior over American leathers. There's many reasons for that I'm not really looking to get into for this video. But to show what types of price differences we have, I do have 3 leathers here. I'm just going to address really briefly, and just kind of hopefully everybody has somewhat of a better knowledge base. So this is a German leather. These are both Italian leathers. So this leather here, of course, prices fluctuate a little bit. It depends on what the tanneries are doing. But this leather here, if somebody chose something from this collection, so that a collection would be a series of leathers, it's pretty much all the same, except there'd be, you know, a little color palette to choose from in that collection. So this collection of leather, I want to say as of right now, of course, these things do change. This to do one door panel insert and like an armrest with this would be like $100, $110, I think, in cost just to use this. Now these 2 Italian leathers, completely different story. This one here, I want to say this one would probably be, based on prices right now, closer to like $150, $160 a door for the insert and an armrest. And this one, this black one, would be closer to like $180, $190. We don't set the prices for supplies. The tanneries do that to our suppliers. And when we order it from our supplier, they patch it into the tannery and they ship it to us. We use all of their leathers they're all top shelf. There is no lack of quality between any 3 of these. It just goes into the fact of what processes did the tannery do for these specific collections of leather. They have slightly different things that they might do. They might skive it a little thinner. They might use a different dye to achieve a different appearance. What kind of texture does the leather have? Let's see if I can bring the focus in here. Like this black one has a little bit more of a textured look. That's probably going into a price of what the tannery says for leather. This is more of a smooth look. It stretches out very nice, and it's skived a little bit thinner than this one, which makes it a little bit more stretchy. This one here is pretty smooth. It's about as thick as this one, and it's from a different tannery in a completely different country, so they set their own prices differently. And with the European leathers, there's zero sacrifice in quality. So of course, if somebody wants an estimate, and let's just say the only 3 options they have, for conversational sake here in the video, these are the only 3 options they have. That's not true, but for the video, let's pretend. This is going to affect drastically, because do you want seats done in this, or just your door panels or whatever? And of course, we might be thinking, okay, well, it might be $20, $30 price difference per door. But if you add that up over the cost of a full interior, especially factoring in seats, that can be hundreds, if not thousands of dollars difference between different leathers. Like the leather in the brown distressed leather and the black and brown interior we posted a week ago that was popular, that price was almost double of what these are. So that's a severe cost difference. And that is what we mean by what type of materials do you want. Not only do we want to know so that way we can be as accurate as we can on our estimates, but we want to know what the theme is we're going for. Let's take a look at leathers that will fit the customer's theme, give a couple of options, and pick from those. That way we're being true to what that customer wants and what an estimate could look like. So that is why supplies are a huge factor into estimates. And of course, if we went down to an automotive upholstery vinyl versus an automotive leather, that is a completely different price point, because even though it might be a very high quality vinyl, it's not going to be anything near the cost of a leather. Go to a leather or vinyl based on durability. So they're both extremely durable if they're properly taken care of, but leather being a natural product, I personally believe is going to last you longer. Just use soap and water to clean it. No matter what interior you ever have, do not use polishes, Armor All, conditioners, none of that stuff. I mean, you can use a good leather conditioner, like a little dime size drop on your seat once a year for leather, and you'll be fine, but nothing more. Don't put it on vinyl, nothing. The stuff will last you years if taken care of properly. So that can be something to think about when you're asking for an estimate as well. Okay, so we have two different door panels here that belong to two different customers. And these are going to be really good examples of why condition affects cost. And again, this is just to kind of help folks understand. If you never had to do something before, you don't know, and we're just trying to help be a little educational. So let's take a look at this door. We have some damages here. We know the vinyl's probably holding this together. It's probably two pieces underneath. But I would say this is probably average. You have the armrest peeling a little bit, so we're going to have to make a new one of those. And of course, we do those in pairs, so both front doors would get them. There's really not much. There's no cracks up here that I can see firsthand just for the video. Pretty average panel. This, excluding the armrest, will probably take about 7 hours start to finish to do it right. Everything comes apart. That pocket's coming out. That's coming off. This is coming off. Carpet's coming out. Sometimes we take those out if we have to, but we try not to. And this guy, the back panel's coming out. And then we'll put it all back together when all the work is done. This would probably take about 7 hours. Now we look at this panel. And we can see the armrest isn't as bad. It's pretty firm. Probably don't need one of those. We're already saving money if the customer doesn't want them. The insert, it's pretty rough. That's all broken out. I can feel cracks in it. It's falling off the door. We have all of this glue that somebody put in here that takes time to take that off. We have to have all these cracks up here that are kind of hard to see with the lighting. That's going to take a lot more time to fix than this panel because we don't have all of that. We have cracks here, all in here. There's cracks in here. We have this here. There's no texture left here, so now we got to put texture there. That's more material. And we're not trying to nickel and dime by any means, but the supplies aren't free. With the quality of supplies that we use, it does get very expensive. We do not slack on supplies. We will not get supplies that are of lesser quality, that are usually the stuff the public can snag. The stuff we get is not sold to the public due to how high the quality is. So, we'd have to use a little bit of texture here. You're gonna need texture there. This whole thing is destroyed in there. We don't need an armrest. This brushing, hard to see with the lighting here. It's really scraggly looking. Now we need brand new brushing. That adds to prices as well. So this panel, this might be a 10-hour panel. So now at, multiplied by labor rates, that's more money. And when you do that from one interior to the next, if, that little bit per part might drastically change an estimate, especially for a full interior. And that is what we mean more or less by condition. Because it's going to take some time to scrape all of this stuff off and to fix this a little bit better. Now we know that one's going to be broken too, but it's not as bad as this one. And again, these are just examples, for hoping that we can just try and be a little educational for folks and help them better understand if they've never had to think about these things before. So that's just the nature of the beast here, and that is more or less what we mean for condition is a huge factor. Because condition means time, as well as custom things, custom requests. If we have to custom fab stuff, maybe lights in the door handle pockets, maybe you want custom trim patterns done, that's time. So time is something that goes into costs. So hopefully that kind of sheds some light on why we don't give ballparks, what goes into an estimate, how the condition of your interior is a factor, maybe any of the custom stuff you want, materials you choose, all of those things. So, just to recap it, if you have a lot more damages than the next guy, which of course in just like a Facebook post or something, you don't necessarily know what kind of condition that was in. You don't know what was done behind the scenes that you can't see. So that might scare you away if yours is in way better condition or you want less done. So condition, custom things, and materials are what go into estimates, and those are the things that factor time. And our quality of materials is top shelf stuff. Those cost money. And what type of feel of leather you want. Do you want something a little bit more softer? Do you want something with more of a texture? all of these things, leathers have different prices. Vinyls usually have different prices. All of those types of things, and we like to just have customers go right to our website, send us an estimate request. They are absolutely free. You can throw the estimate in the garbage if you want to when you're done. They only cost you and us a little bit of time. And we can go back and forth a little bit, talk about your needs, your project goals, and things like that, versus giving you some type of random price and a social media comment that is not relevant to anything about you or your project, or really to us and to nobody, so that misinformation can be misinterpreted. So hit us up at obsinteriors.com or cardesigns.co. We can go back and forth and figure out something for your project to get you an estimate that is as good as we can get for your specific project.